by a client. Potentially you could do that, just ingest it because you have it now. I would not recommend it because, I mean, a certain percentage of the data out there is password protected. It will not ingest, it will fail, and you have to deal with the failures. Some data is actually corrupt. You got to remember that Outlook was way back from 96, has been through several versions, and not all of the versions were very consistent with writing data. So you have in the earlier versions for all a higher level of corruption that you need to deal with, and corrupted file doesn't go in very well, or they only go partly in, and then you need to deal with what do we do with the rest? Do we need to restart it? Do we need to get a double in? So that really creates a lot of issues. And also, because users have created them a long time ago, we actually have a lot of ANSI file space, and those doesn't go very well into like archive systems like Enterprise Vault. You need to convert them into Unicode before you can actually do it. Okay, and so what also is the issue that users over time, because you've had these corruptions and issues with PST files, actually started creating their own backup copies. So you have an own backup environment going on in the background, and what users do, they take every month or every quarter, but it ends up being 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 copies of the same files over a period of time. When you ingest that just raw into the system, then you get all the data multiple times, i.e. you're eating up much more storage, which partly gets taken away by the single instancing by most systems, but much more important is that when the user go look for data, he find the same data in multiple locations, in multiple directories, and that really adds to the confusion for the user. Again, it doesn't make the process very transparent to the user. So there you have a lot of issues with the backup copies, okay? And so also what we see is that certain users, because they're confused, say, I'm missing data. And so if you don't have a backup copy of it before you actually do anything, you have no way of proving that you actually ingested everything into the system. So a lot of issues by just pushing the data in without doing anything to it. So what we have with FlyTech is actually a series of post processes that we use. And the post processes basically is there to ensure that all of these issues that I talked about, plus many, many more, is taken care of. And what we do is that the first thing is we remove the password. So we basically strip it out of the system so we can continue the processing. We then do a backup. We keep it for a short period of time, like a week or 2 weeks, because there we can always go back and say we have the file and we can prove to you that all the data was ingested. The backup copy, of course, gets automatically deleted after the expiration period, so it's just a temporary storage you need. Then we convert those old formats like ANSI into Unicode, so we make sure we can do something with it. And then we actually move to the pre-flight checking, making sure that all the properties are set and the files actually fit for ingestion. After that is done, we do something very important, and that is we ensure that we actually filter out data that is non-wanted. That can either be data that is older than 5, 6, 7 years that you do not want to drag with you into the new system, or it could be certain types of data, like I don't want calendar items in my new archive or target system. So filtering extremely important, but also important, not only from a storage management standpoint, but also from a user confusion standpoint, is the so-called deduplication module. What the deduplication module do is that it actually takes all the files from the user, find all data that's doubled, so all the backup copies actually get stripped out, but not on a file level, on an individual item level. So a really strong function that can help you reduce the amount of data going in significantly, and it ensures that the user doesn't get confused by multiple copies. So if you look through all the different steps we go through here, would you do it without the post-processing? I wouldn't do that.